So we are here on a beautiful September morning at the home studio of Evany Zirul. She is, did I get that right, Evany?
Yep.
Okay, that's always a good way to start the morning. We can hear one of her beloved dogs lapping water in the background. So this is for the Munro Review and for our Osher class that Joyce and I are teaching. And we're very excited to see where Evany works and to talk to her about her art. Let's go.
Okay. I moved to Fresno because I got a job as an ENT surgeon at Kaiser Permanente. So I bought here in Old Fig Garden so I could build a studio. And what you're looking at is a real studio built for that purpose, not a converted garage.
And when was that, Evany?
That's 2000 to 2001, December to January. And working in a garage is, to me, constraining because when you're doing sculpture, you need space and place to do things and the materials to do them. So I have every tool that you can imagine that you need for metalwork. The first thing is to cut the hangers up and then straighten them out. So these are the hangers with the cardboard board underneath. So these are short with a bend. These are, I think, stainless steel hangers. These are regular metal ones. These white ones are smaller and thinner. So then I'll take a hanger and light the torch, heat it up, and it bends like spaghetti. So actually, I do this rather like I do my drawings. Like when I'd sit in a meeting or a concert, I would start with a line, and then it would start to look like something. Or I'd be listening to somebody, and instead of jumping up and interrupting, I don't believe you said that, I will draw the fact that I don't believe that that person said that, and it's all with a .25 rapidograph pen. So I started out in lines, so I'm still in lines. It's a familiar route.
How many pieces do you work on at a time?
One.
Just one?
Just one.
Start to finish. What is the longest amount of time it's taken for you to
9
finish
months.
a piece? 9 months.
On leg up out there, 75 pounds worth of, starting with the leg practically vertical as the leg comes down and the face gets redone 2-3 times because it wasn't right. Usually they're about 2 to 6 months for working on it. I'm patient. Where am I going?
That's one thing about COVID, is it kept us all close.
But it's not just COVID.
Anytime.
You know, it's anytime. This is my focus. It's like, again, going to surgery. You don't rush out because you're hungry. Mm-hmm. You just focus and you keep going at it. My latest piece was one that for me was a challenge on gravity because I wanted steel to float, and how do you make a sculpture float? So I have this figure using Chris Sorensen's rose, so I call it Chris's rose, and I have the only thing that's color is the rose, and the rest is a figure floating in a cloud. But
so the way you made this float, when you look closely, you can see that it's attached at the bottom, and then like little bits at the top. Oh, I guess
I can turn it any way, with help again, because I need help because of the weight. I can lift it up and I can hang it over here.
But it's interesting because it really does give the illusion of floating.
Yeah.
Even though it's being held by these hangers.
Chris's rose, did he make that?
He
rose?
made the rose.
Okay.
I painted it, but he made a whole series of these roses. But this needed color, and it needed, if I give her a specific name, then people are going to say, oh, that means X.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I have a problem with that. So I want people to think what they want to think about. You know, is she in a womb? Is she not? Is she floating in the ocean? Is she in an egg? Is she going to break
through?
through?
And the cage around it is not the wire.
It's coat hangers, heavier, really heavy ones, or 1/8-inch wire. So this is heavier wire. Mm-hmm. That I have a whole, if we go back out, you'll see a whole bunch of scavenged steel. Or I'll go to this used steel yard and go buy bar. But this is bar that's not bought new. I really try not to do anything new except what I absolutely need.
I love that hair.
And the face is all the coat hangers melted together.
Oh, so it's still coat
It's still
hangers.
coat hangers. Still coat hangers.
Great.
So you mentioned that Chris has been a really big
Yes.
influence on
Chris
you.
Sorensen has been a huge. He's the one who taught me how to do the coat hanger, but then I went off on my own tangent.
And what year
using it.
was that you
That
connected
was
with him?
in about 2005 when I joined the Fresno 4 and we had a show at Chris's. I was still working full-time as a physician and nobody knew that I was an artist, other than the fact that I doodled in every meeting and drove the CEO nuts because he thought I wasn't paying attention. I started with a wire because I was working on the acorn gatherer in Clovis, at Clovis and Shaw, and I needed an armature for the papoose. And we were at sculpture camp and he was welding coat hangers. He said, here, use this technique. So I used that technique and I had so much fun. The next time I just started playing with it and made a dancer. And this dancer was light. I could pick it up. It wasn't heavy. I could move it around and somebody bought it. So it was like, wow, this is a new way to go.
It's a new incentive.
New
isn't it?
incentive. And then as time went on and my hands started to get more problems with trying to push clay around, I was walking around with all those braces. It was really stupid to me. So I just went for where it doesn't hurt. And it doesn't hurt to weld coat hangers. And it's fun. And I always do figures because that's what I think in. Don't know why. I could never do abstract expressionism. I was a failure at that working on my master's. They kept wanting me to make it abstract, and the abstracts were stupid, so I
Well,
just kept doing figures.
Don't you think that your background as a surgeon is a big help in making figures? You understand the anatomy of a figure.
It's the other way around.
Oh, you understand the anatomy and that helps you with your...
Then I studied anatomy in med school.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, but my eye-hand coordination and drawing and space, that helped me the most in med school. I mean, that's why I became a surgeon, is because if you can move things around inside the body and know where they're supposed to be, it's fun. I mean, I'm still doing surgery, only nobody complains. These are not anatomically correct. I don't try to do every muscle. I try to do the movement that a muscle may imply.
So you're talking about like in terms of proportion.
Yeah,
and-
I needed to know that this could work in real life, but nothing's made of curlicues and the ribs that are going different directions and the hips that are coming around. These are not real muscles, but people think they are because they look like it. They imply to get the movement.
What's your connection to dance?
My sister was a dancer. I practiced my violin, had my lesson, and then I'd wait for her to finish dance class. So I would sit there and watch her in dance class. And she
Did you
was so
draw while
beautiful.
she was
Sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes I drew while she was dancing, and sometimes. But for me, the drawing, that was life studies that I would do. But for me, the drawing was sitting trapped in a chair that I couldn't leave and had to keep quiet. And that drawing for me was participating in whatever was going on while I'm trapped in a chair. So if you say, why don't you go draw X, they're awful. I don't like them at all. They're stiff, they're uncomfortable, they're not good drawings. But if you put me someplace where I have to listen, then that's occupying that part of my mind that has to pay attention while the other part of my mind can go over here. Oh yeah. What? I need to take my notes. Oh, I'm back over here.
Sketching during a concert. When did that start? Would you start that as a child or
as a kid, 14,
okay?
when my mother gave me permission to draw during class, as long as I did good notes. So then people started borrowing my notes because they were more accurate and neat. Because I'd be drawing and then I'd take the notes and print them out very neatly.
Do you usually draw the conductor, or would you draw one of the musicians?
It depended on who was more interesting to draw. When I was in high school youth symphony, I drew the conductor and he got pissed off during the rest.
you were in the actual symphony.
I was
and you
in
were
the
drawing...
youth symphony.
Wow.
Oh yeah, my sketchbook was on my lap and my violin was over here.
So interesting that the conductor got irritated. That's
Oh, that was the way I would get under people's skin was drawing. That if I had a bone to pick with situation, then I would draw it the way it really happened, and that pissed off people. Like when I was an intern, and they had a doctor's lounge and a nurse's lounge, and I was in the nurse's lounge, and they all smoked. So I went to the doctor's lounge. I was an intern. You know, I thought I can go to the doctor's lounge. So the next morning I came in, and in surgical tape was men's locker room and in women's locker room. So I did a drawing of what that door looked like with little old me standing there and a big male doctor going like that, and put it up there. And it caused trouble, but from then on they asked me to make sure that things were equitable for the female interns. It was funny. It was very funny what happened, and that's been my way of dealing with situations that I considered unfair and you're not allowed to speak up about. I had that problem in high school. I had that problem all through, because if something wasn't right, I'd draw a picture of it.
Good.
Yeah, it was my mouth, because my mouth was too much for so many people. When I was growing up, I have a sculpture about this. When I was growing up, it was basically hush up. You're too loud, you're too this, you're too that, calm down.
and that was gender related.
And it was gender related. You know, girls weren't supposed to be the doctors, girls were supposed to marry the doctors. Kind of thing. So
Or be the nurse.
Or be the nurse, yeah. And so I didn't go to med school until after my master's, and I was teaching in a college in Kentucky, and I lost my job before the man did. And I was paid less.
And what were you teaching?
College art.
Oh, you were teaching
Yeah,
art.
we built a foundry there. That was crazy. I mean, literally crazy. I taught.
What year was that?
1973, 6, 4, something like that. Again, I don't remember precisely. I could look it up.
But then you changed over to be a sculptor.
Well, yeah, I really love sculpture, but then I lost my job, and my sister said, now why don't you go to medical school? And I said, okay. This is about aging and playing with toys, your dolls, only this time it's the little girl playing with the aging parent. This one's carrying. All the little people are the thoughts, at least in my head, keep interfering with what I'm supposed to think. The way I corral all these little thoughts is I put them down on paper.
What's so nice about your drawings is that you can look at them for a long time, because you keep discovering new things in each time you look at it.
Yeah, thank
I
you.
love that kind of work where it looks great from a distance, and then you get closer, you say, ooh, this is more interesting, and this is more interesting.
Yeah. You find more things in them.
Yes.
Yeah, like how many people are in this? That's a dream. Here's one figure, here's the other figure, and here's all the dreaming that's happening.
In many ways, they're narratives then, aren't they?
Yeah. Some of them are autobiographical. This one's Gag Rule. And I drew that when the Gag Rule came up. This man telling you, shut up. So there she is, gagged. Those.
And is this a beloved?
Oh yeah, this is all my dogs. This is all their labels
Oh,
over time. So this represents, since I tend to go for shepherds, their job is to look scary.
yeah. That's one of the sweetest things I've ever seen.
I have a picture where he was in a show and there's a little kid petting it.
That's nice.
Kid's about this high, petting the dog. These are new, the wires, these are going in the show. These are 22 gauge wire pieces. Because I was trying something new. And this is thrown away, so this is coat hangers again.
And how many pieces are going to be in the show?
Probably I'm going to try to do 20.
That's wonderful.
You'll have to be going through like this because they haven't been shown. These have never been shown per se, and it's time they were.